The mere reason that state police is grassroots oriented will enable policemen to effectively secure the environment. It is a known fact that when indigents of a particular area become security agents in those areas, that there is no hiding place left for perpetrators of heinous crimes. The lack of security and police personnel have resulted in the loss of many lives. And this is exactly why Governor Samuel Autumn of Benue State cried out to the center of Abuja. Herdsmen notified him on an impending attack, and no help came, and lives were lost, and the governor was left weeping like a baby, and yet Nigeria was shocked. I certainly wasn't. Why won't such terrible tragedies happen when there is an absence of state police? Similarly, communities, especially in the Southwest, have raised vigilante groups, voluntary organizations, who receive little or no financial reward from the community apart from torches, locally made guns, and cutlasses. The group's performance is so overwhelming and has motivated renewed clamor for institutionalized police force, state police, because the federal police force have failed in the discharge of their duties. It will interest you to know that we already practice some form of state police and other law enforcement agencies. For example, the Sharia law in the north and LASMA and Community Watch in Lagos State. These uniformed men, alongside the federal police, have positioned Lagos as the safest state in Nigeria. It is appalling and quite frankly the height of political irresponsibility when governors claim that they are not responsible for security after attacks. What a ridiculous and quite frankly embarrassing statement. It is common sense that personnel of state police will do better in intelligence gatherings and rapid responses. Why? Because they know the local terrains, have the ability to speak local languages, and some may even know the criminals. Be that as it may, the enormous benefits of state police cannot be overemphasized, and we should not allow trivial issues put on the table by critics to overshadow the immense possibilities of state security in Nigeria created by state police. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. That was quite informative. All right, can you say a few words about the man Fela?
From stories that I've heard from parents and influential adults in my life, I know Fela Kuti to be, or he was rather, a human rights activist. His music was an inspiration to the people. He gave a voice to those who couldn't find theirs. His music was highly influential and inspires musicians such as Wizkid and Burna Boy now to speak up about the problems in our country. He revolutionized music in Nigeria and founded the Afrobeats, literally. He was an international artist, was renowned all over the world. And countries such as the French and other European countries, up till now, listen to Fela's music because of the inspiration and power that it gives the people. Thank you.
My name is Malian Samuel, a bona fide representative of Bakodo Senior Grammar School Education District 2. And I'm here this morning to support the notion which states that the state police should be introduced in Nigeria. But first step and further, I would like to give clear and accurate definition of the state police. Now, Wikipedia gives me a clear and accurate definition of the state police as a police force controlled under the authority of the state rather than the federal authority. Now, the state police in all over the world has helped countries with the state police, such as France, such as Mexico, USA, and other Southern and European countries, to improve their security levels. Now in Africa, what we see is terrorism, war upon war, insecurity, which has made investors from all over the world to run away from Africa, most especially Nigeria, because of insecurity. The International Police Index rated Nigeria as 127 out of 127 worst police in the world. Now, is this not what we should feel concerned about? We have the worst police system in the world and nobody is taking any action towards the state police. I feel the National Assembly should take a step further and amend the constitution on the state police. Now, the state policing can help us create more revenues for our country such as employment, where we have over 60 million youths in Nigeria that are unemployed. And through the introduction of the state police, we can crop that 60 million to 20 million. Now in Nigeria, what we see is we're roaming about to criminal activities, and nobody's concerned about what caused that youth to be in the criminal activities. And nobody's taking any step further through the state police. Now if you go to state like Lagos State, which is the most secure state in Nigeria, and one of the most secured in Africa, you find out that Lagos State is partially practicing the state police. We have the LNSC just inaugurated in 2017. We also have the LASMA. This state organization of vigilante groups has helped the security advancement in Lagos State. Now, if Lagos State can take that step, why not Nigeria? Nigeria is a country of pride. We are filled with milk and honey. And what is this milk and honey? What do they represent? They represent lives and properties. And before this milk and honey can be protected, we have to introduce proper security through the state police. If this milk and honey is not protected, they will actually get stolen. And when they're stolen, Nigeria will have to start crying. Now Nigerians and Nigeria as a whole have seen that the state police introduction is a very vital purpose. Now if you go to countries like USA, where we copy the democracy, everything we get in Nigeria is from the USA. Now we copy the democracy, the language, even the type of government they practice. But yeah, we left a vital key point there. We left their state police. We left their security system. Now John F. Kennedy once said, and I quote, that the security of America is based on the state police. End of quote. Now, if the former president of America can say that, that means that the state police is very vital all over the world, even in Nigeria. Now, a former UN Secretary General was saying, and I quote, in person of Brutus Gali, once said, and I quote, that in Africa, the problem of every African country is security. End of quote. And he also said in a press conference that Africa needs a revolution. And the revolution of Africa is through advancing security and advancing security by the state police. Now, if we can take a step to introduce the state police, we will practice true federalism. Now, true federalism is an act to show that, yes, we are practicing democracy. The state police also balances the equation of democracy, according to a quote by Donald J. Trump, which states, and I quote, that in democracy, the most important thing is security. And how can this, end of quote, and how can this quote be interpreted? It can be interpreted in a way by which democracy is defined as a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, according to Abraham Lincoln. Now, in democracy, we have principles of democracy. Freedom of speech, freedom of movement, right to life, right to education. Let me start from right to education. Fine, we go to school. We are students. We go to school. But when we go to school and the school is not secured, we as students are not secured, and our parents too. They cry for this. This thing happened in Dapchi and Chibok, whereby Nigerians lost their daughters and no action was taken towards the state police. If it was proper security in Chibok that day, I don't think about 200 girls would have been kidnapped. Including in Dapchi, I don't think Leah Sherif would have been in the hands of the wicked Boko Haram. Nigerians need to take a step of revolution today. I am an advocate for state police. Another national leader, like the Vice President of Nigeria, the person of Professor Yemi Oshibajo, has also advocated for the state police. Why don't we put it in our constitution and amend our constitution? Ladies and gentlemen, time will not permit me to tell you more about the state police. But with these cogent words I've said, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that you believe that I have spoken that the state police should be introduced in Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was powerful. Don't you all agree? Thank you. Now, young man, what do you know about the man, Fela?
Fela Kuti was an historical icon. He's a music legend all over the world. He was formerly known for his band called the Egypt 80. Fela was, let me call him as my own day Albert Einstein. Although he's not a scientist, but people say, why Albert Einstein? Albert Einstein was a role model for what he did, and Fela is a role model. Popular musicians like Wizkid and the rest, they all imitate Fela. And Fela even let people that could take up the job. Someone in person of Mr. Fela Kuti, who is now a very known trumpetist and saxophonist. He can play almost all wind instruments. Fela is a music icon, a national activist, and he stands for what is right. And I love people that do that. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Oh, sorry, I brought the wrong paper. Hold on. No, at this point, I have to say that all the speakers have been marvelous. Don't you you all agree? Fantastic speakers all the way. Our next speaker is going to be coming from Ekbe School Senior High School, and they are speaking for. Round of applause, please. Thank you.
Good day, Mr. Chairman, sir, the moderator, panel of judges, the Hakam timekeeper, my co-debaters, and you, the attentive audience. Standing before you is Olorum Wibat, a representative of Ekbe Girls Senior High School. I am here to vehemently support the motion that state police should be established in Nigeria. But before I proceed, I would like to define the key terms. State police could be defined as a police force under the authority of a state rather than under the authority of a country or nation, while Nigeria is a country in the western part of Africa. Now to my point. When you continue to take a drug for a particular ailment and it ceases to stop, it means you are taking the wrong prescription for the ailment. We have had enough of the federal system of policing. It is time we take a new paradigm shift so as to get well security-wise as a nation, and the state police is the only option. First and foremost, in a survey carried out by Chris Osai of the Vanguard newspaper, reported February 8, 2018, that 61% of Nigerians endorsed the creation of state police, including the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, and Governor Yari Abdulaziz of Zamfara State, on behalf of the 30 state governments in Nigeria. All that is required is the constitutional review and amendment of Section 214 and 215, subsection 3 and 4, which deals with the establishment, the appointment, control, and defection of powers. This was addressed at the 8th National Assembly of the country a few months ago. State police do not only pave way for more equipment and personnel who are familiar with the indigents and the terrains to help dictate and uproot any emerging crimes. It will foster a close interstate relationship as intel is shared among states so as to nip crime in the bud, since most crimes are committed locally. Also, in every country that practices state police, the philosophy of the community comes in handy. Members of the public naturally and freely support policing work, thus making it easier for the police personnel. This is in line with the postulation of Robert Peel, a promoter of modern policing, who believes in bringing policing to the doorsteps of citizens. Challenges are what makes life interesting, and overcoming them is what makes life meaningful. All you will need is to try new things, put the right framework and operational mechanism in place, and be optimistic. Optimism with maximum diligence yields enormous productivity. It is easier to move from failure to success than it is from excuses to success. In addition, there has been a recent clamor for the establishment of state police in Nigeria, as opposed to what was laid down in the Section 214 of the Nigerian 1999 Constitution. This is as a result of the worsening situation of the security system in Nigeria. Another reason for this clamor is that the geographical area of Nigeria is too large for a central policing system. Policing citizens should be the responsibilities of each state and not that of the federal government. It is easier to operate closed systems, shorter processes, because of less loops, error percentages, and you definitely know your targets. More so, proponents of the decentralization of the Nigerian police force have continued to argue that with policemen operating in familiar terrains, policing will be much more effective, efficient, and less costly, given the familiarity of the operatives with the cultural and spiritual nuances of their own state, just like the Lagos State neighborhood corps. Moreover, police officers in states will likely be hired from local governments in those states. This means that the local police recruits will be people more familiar with the nooks and crannies of the state, and we can therefore keep the state a lot more safer than recruits from other states would. For instance, sending an Idoman to police in Borno is not an effective way of policing a state. More so, to oppose state police will be a very serious disservice to the unity and security of this country. Recent security challenges in this country have made state police an imperative which should be considered and implemented without further delay. However, it's amazingly astonishing that given the criminality that has pervaded our land, someone would still claim not to see how compelling and urgent the setting up of state policies. Yes, I definitely agree that there could be abuses in the implementation of state police, but safeguard measures should be operational to prevent them by state governors and other state officials. The fact that something is capable of being misused does not mean it should be thrown away or ignored. Conclusively, all my opponents' reasons, too valid, cannot invalidate the appropriateness of setting up state police. With this, my well-structured facts, points, and figures, there is no gainsaying that state police should be established in Nigeria. Thanks.
Thank you. Come. My dear, come. Thank you very much. Before you go, a few words on Fela.
Fela Kuti is a role model. He was born in the year 1938. He's a role model. He's a human rights activist. He fought for rights of the people. He sang songs for the rights of the people. They killed his mother just because of that, and yet he didn't relent. All I just have to say is that we should all copy his character. He's a role model to the core. Nothing else but a role model. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Let me again sound this point to you guys. If you hear two ringing of the bells, bagam and then bagam, you've lost points. Okay? So, just for you to know. Let's all continue. Very interesting, isn't it? Thank you. We have Herbert Macaulay Senior Girls High School, and they are going to be talking against. A round of applause for them, please.
I recently read a research work by Mr. Leomi Michael of the Department of Political Science and International Relations, Landmark University, Umuaro, Kwara State, Nigeria. I quote, "Considering the deficiency of the Nigerian police as it is, caution is needed for crucial examination of the root cause of security challenges instead of pitching tents with those clamoring for state police in Nigeria." End of quote. Before I continue my argument, I would like to give honor to whom it is due by saying, good day to the chairperson, panel of judges, able timekeeper, co-debaters, and my ever-attentive audience. Standing before you is Abraham Oluwatomi Sinsera, a bona fide student of the prestigious Eba Macaulay Girls Senior High School. I'm here to vehemently kick against the notion that states that state police should be introduced in Nigeria. According to Wikipedia, state police is a force under the authority of a state rather than under the authority of a city or a country. I will never support the introduction of state police because of the following reason. Firstly, is the problem of funding. Virtually many states in Nigeria depend largely on federal allocation for survival. Many state income is hardly enough to meet the expenditure. Now tell me, will adding police responsibility to such states who are still battling with problems relating to payment of minimum wage not be an overkill? Even the Lagos State, who has been assisting in funding of policemen deployed to the state, has been doing so through a trust fund specifically set up for that purpose. Secondly, governors might use the state police as a ready-made tool for penetration of crimes ranging from electoral malpractice to victimization of opposition in the state, which is likely to lead to chaos. However, with the state of insecurity and level of distrust amidst our leaders, I see this notion as a preparation to our eventual breakup. You might want to ask me why. State police in the context of Nigeria is more like having a Yoruba officer in a Yoruba-speaking state, an Igbo officer in an Igbo-speaking state, a Hausa officer in an Hausa-speaking state, and so on and so forth. This will gradually take us back to the First Republic experiment, tribal settlements. The problem of misplaced priorities and abuse of office is another reason why I'm against this nation. For instance, recently in Kwara State, a group of bandits were being confessed to be equipped with ammunition by the present Senate President of Nigeria, Senator Bukola Saraki, who was struggling to vindicate himself from the allegations. Whether or not he's guilty, we hope the Supreme Court told us the truth. Furthermore, the structure of the police is defective, and a significant slice of the police budget is consumed at the headquarters. Very limited resources go to the state commands, where police operations actually occur. State police then become dependent on state governors, who give them money in return to do their biddings. This problem must be addressed if the police are to improve its service delivery. Funding for the police should be improved, but only on the basis of serious reform carried out. As a student and believer of federalism, I support the principle that federal policies should have police forces controlled by federating units. I am very frightened of the idea of introducing state police in Nigeria because the evidence that it will be abused is massive. It is uncharitable to argue that the Nigerian police are completely partisan in their action. Federal institutions are generally much capable of handling situations in an even-handed manner related to the state-level institutions. The problem we have is that the Nigerian police are not as effective as it should be, and the way out is to improve its efficacy. In conclusion, the root cause of security challenge must be addressed for effective measures of controlling security threats and taming the monster of leadership as well as social vices, which has been the challenge on effective policing in Nigeria. I hope with this cogent point of mine, I have vehemently, vigorously, firmly, and completely convinced you that state police should never be introduced in Nigeria. Thank you.
Well done, well done, well done. Come. Very quickly before you go, what do you know about the man Fela? What do you know?
According to what my grandma always tells me, because my grandma seems to like Fela a lot, she tells me that they don't sing nowadays, that back in the days of Fela, that's when we have songs. Fela Kuti was born on October 15, 1938. He was known for his music. He was a man of valor. He was an human rights activist. Fela Kuti inspired a lot of people, amongst which are Wizkid, Burna Boy, and many more. Fela Kuti is a respected person throughout Nigeria and Africa and all over the world.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for her, please. We're getting close to the end of the first round. We just have two more schools, I believe. We have the Ajara Senior Grammar School and the Ejigbo Senior High School. So the first school coming up, and they will be talking against Ajara Senior Grammar School. A round of applause, please.
Good morning to you, Mr. Chairman, sir, panel of judges, my apparent timekeeper, my co-debaters, and my audience. Here on this platform is myself, Dr. Nwanda Okwesu, and I'm representing Education District 5. I'm here to speak against this topic laid before me. State policing should be introduced in Nigeria. But before I move on, I would like to aid our understanding on the terms known as state police and a state. What is a state? A state is a politically organized body of people inhabiting a geographic area under a legitimate government. What is state police? A state police is the kind of sub-national police force under the control, management, and organization of the state. Talking about state policing being introduced in this country, Nigeria, we will see that Nigeria is not yet politically mature. Under the point political immaturity, Alhaji Ado Shaibu, Vice Chairman of Iowa Youth Development Association, said, and I quote, Nigeria, no African country has reached the level of governance where their governors will not abuse the powers for the political opponents in order to oppress them. Now, going to the point of political maturity, there is no way state police will be created where their governors will not abuse them. Like the saying goes, he who pays the piper dictates the tune. Of course, when the governors pay the salaries of the police, they have the authority and the power to command them, and they will do whatever they want. Even during elections, they might ask them to steal ballot boxes and oppress their opponents. Of course, because they are the ones in charge of them. Also, in terms of revenue generations in this country is not standard because Nigeria is one of the countries that is not economically strong, but I believe we will get there. Now, talking about state policing, there are some states like Jigawa and Zamfara that are not able to create enough funds for their states. Even some states like Borno, they are owing their police officers about 5 months' salary. How then are those kind of states able to fund state policing? Of course not. Even some states still owe their workers' salary for about 19 months. How then are they going to organize the state police organization? Of course, it will not be easy for them to do because it will be a burden for them. Now, to create state police, it will require having a state police college, state police stations, and various ammunitions for the smooth running of the organization. But some states in this country, Nigeria, are not able to do that because they don't have enough revenue generations. Also, rivalry in this country, in the sense that federal police force may try to outshine the state police force if it is eventually created, because they will want to show themselves that we are the federal police force, we were here first. While the state police force, we also want to outshine them, that they are here also. It will bring about confusion and disunity in this country, Nigeria. Because let's say, for instance, in Borno, where there are herdsmen, killings, and the state police force needs the federal police force help. How then are they going to help them? Because it will be difficult for them because they think they already have their own state police force, they don't need their help. So it will be difficult for them to try to help them. Also, it will lead to secession. What do I mean by secession? Secession means a society or country or a state trying to leave a larger country or a place where he or she has been before. Now, Nigeria, when a governor has enough ammunition, state police officers, and enough security and revenues, how then do you think the governor will not think of creating his own country? Of course he will, because it thinks he has enough ammunition, it thinks he has enough security and revenue. And Nigeria is a country that is known for its unity. So then, if state police is created, do you think they will not lead to secession? Of course, let's take the instance for Biafra. We don't want that to repeat itself in Nigeria. Now, state police should not be created in this country, Nigeria. As a matter of fact, imbalanced or confused republic. In this country, Nigeria, if Mr. A of the state A decides to command his police officers under him, the governor in state B, we also want to command the police officers under him. And that is, it will bring about confusion. When states like Lagos and Ogun State share borders, now, if the state police officers, the governor of Lagos State decides to close the border, and the governor of Ogun State decides to open the border, how then will they agree? Of course, it will lead to rivalry and clash of police officers, which is not supposed to be. The federal police officer is enough. I heard my opponent says before that it will generate employment. I quite agree with that. But what is wrong in recruiting more men into our federal police force? We have enough space. There is no law that says that federal police force men cannot be recruited more. Of course, with this cogent point of mine, I hope I've made you see reasons with me that state policies should not be created in this country, Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much. What do you know about the man, Fela?
Well, according to what my dad normally says, because he's a huge fan of Fela, he says that Fela, even though his songs are humorous and they are kind of funny, but it makes sense. Because sometimes when I do something wrong, there is this particular song that I sing. Zombie, don't go sleep, or let his land to sleep, zombie. It kind of like that song, and I also love it because it's kind of funny, but it makes sense. And I believe that Fela is an icon, is a legend all over the world. Even in my house, when my daddy hears the songs of Fela, and even me myself, it's danceable, it's teachable, it's lesson filled and moral filled. I love Fela so much that I've been looking for one of the songs, but I've not been able to get it. But I believe when I have my own phone, I'll get it. I'm a huge fan, and I love him. He's a real moralist. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Our last speaker for today, going to be speaking for Ejigbo Senior High School. A round of applause for the last speaker, please.
It is astonishing, indeed shocking, that any group will still oppose the establishment of state police, given the grave security challenges Nigeria has been facing. Lives are lost daily and blood are shed as if it was going out of fashion. Federal police has failed in their primary obligation of maintaining the internal security of states. It is time we saw the danger in which the country is and the Armageddon staring it in the face if we fail to diversify, broaden, and fortify our security architecture. Good day, my eminent and well-distinguished moderator, my indispensable and impeccable panel of judges, my well-respected co-debaters, my accurate timekeeper, and of course my ever-listening audience. I am Balogun Joseph, a representative of Ejigbo Senior High School District 6. I'm here to defend the motion which stipulates state police should be implemented. By definition, state police in Nigerian context are a kind of subnational police force to be controlled, organized, and under the jurisdiction of a particular state government. I firmly support that state police should be implemented in Nigeria with the following salient points. First and foremost, one of the principles stated by Robert Peel, the founder of modern policing, endorses the need to bring policing practice to the doorsteps of citizens. This, of course, will be practically achieved with the creation of state police. The police, being the first line of defense for the ordinary citizen, must be as close to the people as possible. When the authority is far removed from the people, it tends to limit the effectiveness of such a police force, as we have continually experienced in our country. Therefore, the need to review its architecture as part of the debate to restructure the country has become a persistent cry in the face of rising insecurity. It's all about bringing the security matters closer to the people and involving them in their own security, thereby ensuring the supremacy of their rights. The full protection of lives and properties will be better achieved with a security that is closer to the community. Furthermore, the implementation of state police is the only way to improve national security. As a matter of fact, Nigeria is the only prominent member of the Forum of Federation that maintains a supposed federal police force to police a country. The police of country of over 190 million, spread over 36 federating units and 774 local government councils. The United Kingdom has 45 territorial forces and 3 special police forces. In the United States, the police is decentralized and constituted along various federating units. In Britain, we have 20 police jurisdictions, same for France, Canada, and New York. In fact, the New York City is one of the most respected internal security forces in the world in terms of operational efficiency. And do you know what? It is a city governed by a mayor. Therefore, what are we saying in essence? We cannot realistically police a country the size of Nigeria centrally from Abuja. State police are clearly the way to go. There is no way we can consider this old way of policing in our country because it won't work, and it is apparently not working. The sensitization in this regard should begin today. An executive bill to that effect should be sent to the National Assembly. We are tired of listening to lamentations and sermons by our state police officers. Indeed, if the ruling party can begin this issue of restructuring by decentralization to permit state police, there will be little skepticism left over restructuring. Moreover, the implementation of state police will go a long way into boosting the efficiency of the police in combating crimes. This system of policing will drive the passion of the indigenous police officers who not only work for the government but also for the peace and security of their community. Their recruitment will come from the locals because they know the terrain. Also, the state police officers understand that members of the community have their personal profile, so they cannot afford to compromise security or underperform. A state governor, being the chief security officer of the state, understands that running a low-crime state is attractive to investors and tourists, and also in the best economic interest of the state. He also understands that these days, members of the state have zero tolerance for non-performance. They are sure to vote that governor out in the next election if he fails to ensure peace and security in the state. This, of course, will deepen democracy. Finally, state police must be executed if we desire a country that must live up to our expectations of protecting the lives and properties of our citizens. It is the panacea to all our security challenges. In conclusion, I believe I've been able to erase every shadow of doubt that state police must be implemented. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As usual, now I'll ask you that same question. What do you know about the man, Fela?
About Fela, I don't really know much about him, but what my dad told me about Fela was that Fela was a man who pointed out the shortcomings of the government of then. He was born in 1938. The leaders then who were corrupt, Fela was a man who stood up bravely, and through his music, he pointed out those negativities that the government were doing then. Fela was known all over the world because he was a man of boldness. He was a man of confidence. He was He was a man that stood for true federalism. He was a man that that has this consciousness that yes, people should always do the right thing at the right time, no matter the position you have. I should always stand for what is right. He was a great man during his time. I really honor him and hail him. He was a very nice man. Thank you.
Thank you very much.